It's time for the Social Show with Viwe Kyolwana.
Social Show?
Social Show.
A very warm welcome to the Social Show. My name is Viwe Cholan, and for the next 30 minutes, we're going to be talking all things CSI, CSR, and shared value. Of course, it's a beautiful Monday. It's the beginning of a new week. It's been like a week into September, and everything is fresh, and all things are bright and beautiful. And that also, I can safely say that also works in the CSI space. I think more people are really shifting their focus, just in accordance to how they just conduct their business services and how they conduct their social responsibility in conjunction with that, I'm seeing a lot of different new innovative ways in which people are trying to make sure that their communities benefit and make sure that their communities do get the very best that they can. Of course, there are some stories that are sad and really, really need to be checked, but that's what we're here for. And if you have any of those stories, please send me on press@social-tv.co.za, or you can send me a tweet at brownlive.co.za, or you can just come visit me, 27 boxes, and we can maybe have a little chat about what you think is going wrong or what has been going right, especially since the year is about to wrap up. I think it's important that we start to really monitor and evaluate what it is that worked for us and what it is that didn't, especially if you are going to stick around within the CSI space next year or the next few years, within your company, within the space in which you work, or you're an NGO and you really want to shake things up. What is it that you really wish you knew in the beginning of the year that you now know? That's basically what we're trying to find out today. What is it that you wish you knew in the beginning of the year that you currently know now and you feel as though the year is about to end? Okay, I'll be looking out for those tweets, but in the meantime, let's go straight into the news.
CSI update.
Turning 7 this year, Five for Change has been an annual highlight on the Cape Town social and philanthropic calendar in 2018. However, its founders are shaking things up and taking the black tie gala upcountry to Gauteng. This year's event will be hosted at the station in Newtown, Johannesburg, Saturday, the 27th of October. If you're new to Five for Change concept, here's what all the fuss is about. Every year, the founders, Adrian Dippenaar, David Dietfields, and Ross McCarran, host a black tie fundraiser in support of 5 fledgling social enterprises, shining spotlight on these commendable causes and providing a platform for those with the means to give back. This year's beneficiaries are Dlalanje, Oliko Maths Education, Enke, CRSP Design, and Hustle Economics. In the run-up to the event, Biz Community will be profiling each of the beneficiaries, so you can look out for that on Biz Community. In other news, the Harvard University Graduate School of Design has announced its 2018-2019 cycle of the Richard Rogers Fellowship Research focused on residency program based in London at the Wimbledon House, open for applications. The fellowship is open to accomplished practitioners and scholars working in fields related to the built environment. The deadline for applications for the 2019 cycle is Sunday, 28 October. And each year, 6 selected fellows receive a 3.5-month residency at the Wimbledon House, as well as a round-trip travel expenses, 10,000 in cash stipend, as well as access to a range of resources. Now entering its 3rd cycle, the Richard Rogers Fellowship thus far has welcomed 12 fellows from around the world to London and Wimbledon House. Fellows have researched on a diverse series of topics, including the examination of public and affordable housing, how food and cooking transform cities, as well as citizen-driven urban regeneration initiatives, among others. And lastly, in our news, hostel dwellers at A section in KwaMashu marched to Durban City Hall on Monday, the 3rd of September. They called for the units and toilets to be fixed and that more should be done to fight the crime in the hostel. They say the area has been ignored by the government for more than 4 years. About 40 people took part in the protest, some with fighting sticks. A memorandum listing the community's concerns was addressed to eThekwini Mayor Zandile Gumede, and it was received by her advisor Mlungisi Ntombela. The hostel, which consists of many blocks, is home to thousands of people who share about a dozen communal bathrooms, with half of them unoperational. Some of the sewage drains are blocked and leak into walkways and doorsteps of the units. And that concludes our news for today.
In this learning module, we'll share with you 4 compelling reasons why you and your organization should embrace community involvement and CSR opportunities. You demonstrate your commitment to the community, your team, and your customers. You elevate the charisma and mission of your business by association with your involvement while broadening the public's awareness to your business and your brand. You allow your team to embrace a noble cause, which will strengthen their own reasons to see your company as a preferred employer. And you'll actually open up your horizons, your own horizons, in the sharing and caring about issues that are actually important in your own community, and in doing so, elevate you as a leader with other like-minded leaders. These are the first 4 reasons that will help you decide to get you, your company, and your team involved with issues that matter to the very people that live and work in the community you call home.
400 kilometers off the eastern coast of Africa, Madagascar boasts unrivaled species and ecosystem diversity. Nearly 98% of the island's land mammals, 91% of its reptiles, and 80% of its flowering plants are found nowhere else on Earth. Scientists from Chicago's Field Museum, including MacArthur Fellow Steve Goodman, are studying and seeking to conserve biodiversity here. In Madagascar and 7 other areas of the tropics, the Foundation strives to strike a balance between conservation and the needs of rural communities in developing countries. A research initiative at Arizona State University is examining this question using case studies in Peru, Tanzania, and Vietnam. Other new projects seek to identify and mitigate the threat from global climate change on species in some of the most diverse ecosystems on the planet.
That's right, you're back on the social show. What an exciting week we have. So many amazing things going to be happening within the space. Please do find out more on our platform, which is www.social-tv.co.za. I feel like I said that wrong. www.social-tv.co.za. You can find out the lowdown as to what is going on. And you can maybe attend a few of the events that we're going to be attending, but I won't give too much away. Of course, the question for the day is, what do you wish you knew before you started the year? If you are in the space, if you are in CSI, if you are in corporate responsibility, if you are in philanthropy, if you find yourself a social enterprise, or you are a social enterprise, what is it that you wish you knew that would have changed your year and made it a little bit different? I know a few things that I know a lot of people that I've spoken to have said on the show that they think they should have known in the beginning of the year, or wish they would have known in the beginning of their career that they know now. And I think it's very important that we do share information, and we make sure that whoever's coming up behind us does have the necessary tools not to struggle the same way you did, right? Exactly. So I'm just going to give you a few of the things that I think really mattered in 2018 if you were in CSI, things that trended a little bit more in my personal capacity, things that were important to highlight and important to be part of and important to understand about the kind of work that you were doing, whether you were a philanthropist or you were just a CSI manager, or you own your own NGO and you're always looking for funding. Whatever it is, you need to know. It's very important that you kind of understand where you're at and what it is that was needed from you in 2018. The first is, everywhere I went, every single seminar, every single talk, every single handover had one common theme. And that theme, I've been saying it for more than 2 years: collaboration. Collaboration is the new orange, is the new black. You know, non-profits' ability to collaborate with others is of paramount if you want to be successful. Non-profits, large and small, are facing increased pressure to deliver on their missions in creative ways. And this pressure is coming not only from the government cutbacks, right? We're currently in a recession, you know, and, a lot of people are saying that we are. A lot of economists basically are saying that. So there's a lot of pressure, and not only is it coming from the government, but it is also coming from the CSI space, of course, because it's also affected. But that means we also need to start accelerating the way in which we creatively make our money, the way in which we creatively get the NGOs, the initiatives going. So one of the advice that comes out of that is that people in the space should make 2 lists. Now, these lists are according to Miss Eleanor Harrison from Global Givings, and she says if you make 2 lists, one that documents the resource and the talents you'd be willing to share with fellow nonprofits to achieve higher purpose. So you have one that sort of has all of these things that you are able to do and that you can give and that you can give time to, and the second documents with the stuff that you would like people to share with you. You can then act on those lists. So it's very important at the beginning of the year you write those 2 lists. What do you have? What are your strengths? And what is it that you are failing at? Maybe the second list, what is it that you would like? So you can barter and you can exchange. Remember, it's important because at the end of the day, as much as you are a nonprofit, as much as we are all fighting, for the little money that is going to come to you, we all need to find a way in which we can collaborate so that we can effectively help the community. It's all about the community. It really doesn't matter if you have an amazing project. If it's only going to benefit you and how your company looks, you really aren't doing your best. You really need to make sure that your nonprofit, the nonprofit that you choose as a CSI counterpart or CSI manager or owner or whatever it is that you do at your company, you need to know that your NGO, the NGO you've chosen, does collaborate, does work with other spaces, is holistic in its approach. I've heard that a million times. The more you collaborate, the more you incorporate more things, the more likely you are to get fundraising, to get funds, and the more likely you are to be successful. So collaboration was and is the new black. You've got to collaborate. Everybody's collaborating, or at least they're trying to, or leading to it. Everybody wants partnerships. Everybody's looking for strategic partnerships. So find yours, find your space, find how you can maximize your impact, right? Another thing that I think a lot of people should know by now, 2018, especially when you think about all the atrocities that have happened from Life Esidimeni, that issue, the housing issue that happened a few days ago actually, in the middle of town where a whole building was burning. Radical transparency is of utmost importance. Donors and clients deserve to know what's working and what's not in your business without any filters. An environment where there's information from your budget to your board minutes should be actually openly shared through technology in any way that you would like, whether you're sending out news press releases, whether you're sending out letters, whether you're sending out tweets. It needs to be a norm for nonprofits to be radically transparent. How can you accelerate in this area? How can you make sure that whoever's looking at your business, whoever's looking at what you're doing, can exactly see how the exchange happens from your money, from your resources into the community? So radical transparency. I think a lot of people have been operating in the dark, and that's why we find so many people, unfortunately dying and unfortunately not really getting into really open spaces where they can be accountable, responsible for their actions, because things are being done in the dark. So radical transparency is another thing that I think a lot of people who are in the space should know by now, actually. You've got to be transparent. You've got to be accountable. Another thing is that I think we need to really start looking at the way in which technology has impacted the space. How are you using technology effectively? How are you making sure that you are using the technological advancements to your advantage? I mean, there are so many ways in which people can pay now. It's not only, through EFTs and sending donations through SMSs or whatever the case may be. There's so many ways. There's PayPal, there's even Apple Pay, there's crowdfunding, there's cryptocurrencies. There's so many ways in which people are now making donations and availing money and resources to charities and to individuals. And I think it's important that we start using them as NGOs and CSI practitioners, that we make it easier for the consumer, the customer, to give if they are willing to give in whatever way, whether it's their time, whether it's their money, whether it's their resources. We need to make sure that we utilize technology because it is the easiest way to get more people involved. That's what they're doing for the Global Citizen concerts happening at the end of the year. They're really utilizing technology. They're really utilizing apps and the internet in general to really generate a greater traction for the event. And I think that's something a lot of nonprofits have to get into. They know that they need to be a little more easier to access. They need to be more easier to give money to. You need to be easy. You need to be ready to receive whatever it is, whether it be funding, whether you're going through a funding institution like Chikululu or whatever the case may be. They need to see that you're transparent, but also that you are technologically savvy, right? That you are working with the times. It's very, very important. Another thing that I think is very important is we need to really establish the difference between basic philanthropy and corporate social responsibility. I definitely think that there's been a little bit of a dip in how people really know how to define what it is that they're doing. If your company is hosting if your CSI as a company is reliant on your CEO giving out a check, you guys all having a great dinner, and then you guys calling it quits, then you might be just doing some sort of corporate philanthropy. You're not necessarily doing anything that's really responsible and accountable and is going to be part of the Vision 2030. I'm not saying that the donations aren't important. I just think that they have sort of an arm's length approach where it's almost like we're going to give as much as this is our limit. It's very limiting. It's very important that we understand the differences between being a business who engages with the charity sector and doing more than just sort of donating a portion of your net profit to a chosen charity, and in effect having a social responsibility program in place. And if you don't know that by now, you should know that people are really done with the check handovers. I haven't seen a lot this year. I've seen maybe 2 or 3. I think it's important to give money. I think it's important to give money that has some sort of strategic planning around it. But I definitely think that as a company, you need to be a little bit more inculcated with what it is that you would like to see changing in your environment. That would benefit not only your customers, but also the people that you're working under or working with. Those may be your people in the community. Those may be people in your employability space, your HR. How are you making sure that they understand what it is that your needs of the company are and how they can be translated in effective corporate social responsibility? Anyway, those are a few of the things I have. Today we're going to take a short break. We'll be back after this with things to remember.
When you've been around for almost 150 years, you operate in 197 countries, and you sell millions of products a day, you have opportunities and responsibilities. A responsibility to respect people and the environment, to do the right thing, to be transparent. That's why we've asked you how we can be a better business. We've listened to what you said and taken action. We turned your feedback into 38 commitments, a set of commitments you can hold us accountable to, that we apply across our business. Sourcing, manufacturing, packaging, marketing, consuming. We've already come a long way, but this is just the beginning. We know there will be challenges, and while sometimes we might surprise ourselves, we won't always get it right first time. But we're determined to do more and to share our progress with you. To find out how we're doing, visit Nestle.com.
What?
What? What?
What?
What?
What?
What?
Hey Sam, how's it going?
John, how funny. I was just telling my sister how inspiring it is to see you out and about. Good for you, man.
What?
People with disabilities don't want to be put on a pedestal. They are just like you and me and should be treated no differently. The disabled community is the third largest market segment in the United States, surpassing Hispanics, African Americans, and Asian Americans. but they are still searching for equality. Special treatment is not needed and is condescending.
Share your what moments. Give your voice. Seek change. For more information about sharing your what moment, visit theawarenesscampaign.com.
What?
You want him to be my prince? Yeah. All right. That was good.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we are in the last segment of the show. I'm about to wrap up. It's been an amazing one, and I think I've posed a really important question, and I'm still waiting for the answers. If you have any more, send me a press at social-tv.co.za. But anyway, things to remember is that time of the show where I hope I leave something in the back of your mind to think about during your day, during your lunch break, when you're talking to your friends, colleagues, whatever it is, your family. I want you to think about these things and really have a really great conversation around them. And today, I'm not going to play a clip. I'm just going to give you something to think about. And it's going to be the resonating theme of today's show, which is, what is it that you wish your corporation, a corporation that you're working with, you yourself should have known, would have been better off knowing in the beginning of the year that you know today? As a philanthropist, as a corporate social responsibility head, as a non-profit, as a donor, as a client, as just a person who really wants to do good in the world, as a wealthy person, as a charity, what is it that you wish you knew that you didn't know, that you wish you knew before the beginning of the year, that you know now with absolute confidence, right? Okay, you let me know. I'll be back again, same time, same place, tomorrow, only on The Social Show.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. Brandlive.co.za